If I asked you the question, are you going to run your business forever? What would you say? Well, of course, you'd say no, because death is undefeated. Today's topic is going to be on succession planning, the 5 core components, and how to make sure you have a successful exit. My name is Luke Turner, co-founder of Moen Private Wealth, where we help athletes and entrepreneurs get smarter with their money. Today's topic is going to be on succession planning. But before we jump into the 5 key components of succession planning, I want to tell you a little bit of story, a little family background. So back in 2015, our dad was running a small business. And unfortunately, while he was running that small business, he had not done any succession planning. Throughout the course of the year 2015 and 2016, he unfortunately got diagnosed with a very aggressive form of cancer, and he passed away, eventually having to fire sale his business. And today, what we're going to cover are the 5 areas that if he would have focused on these, he wouldn't have got 70 cents on the dollar for the business that he ran for the last 2 decades. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So the 5 key components. First thing, who are you selling to? Anytime you're selling anything, you need to know who you're selling to, whether it's in your business or you're actually selling your business. A couple of the people that oftentimes you'll hear are 1, strategics. Is there somebody who is going to acquire you from a strategic perspective? Are there employees inside of the business that you potentially want to sell to? Is it potentially a private equity opportunity that you're going to sell into? When we think about negotiating a deal and really maximizing the value of their business, one of the biggest things is knowing and understanding who you're selling to and why you're selling to them. If you don't understand who you are trying to sell your company to, it is going to leave you in a position of vulnerability when it comes to the negotiation table. So that's first. Who are you selling to? You need to know who you're selling to. Point number 2, who needs to be on your financial team? So likely you are only going to go through one transaction in your life. If you're lucky enough to go through multiple successful transitions or exits or succession plans, that's excellent for you. This is not the time to DIY your succession plan. Again, this is likely going to be the largest capital event that you're going to experience. So we want to make sure that we have the team of specialists in place to make sure that you get maximum value out of your succession plan. So who should be on your team? 1, you need an M&A attorney. So this is not your local legal counsel. You need to make sure this is somebody who has transaction experience in the category that you are actually exiting in. $1 million transaction is not the same as a $10 million transaction. It's not the same as a $50 million transaction. It's not the same as a $200 million transaction. Making sure that the team that you have in place, specifically your M&A counsel, has expertise in that category. Second thing, sell-side representation on the banking side. So it's either going to be an investment banker or a broker, depending on the size of your transaction. It is key to make sure that you find right representation on the sell side to make sure that they're marketing your deal properly and showing up properly for the buyers that are potentially going to acquire your company. Third item, tax planning. We want to make sure that this is not going to be a huge tax bill or a huge surprise from a tax perspective. There are things that you can do in a transaction that could potentially save you thousands, if not millions of dollars from a tax perspective. But it takes planning in advance, and it takes making sure that you have the right specialists on the team. The 4th area is going to be financial planning. So making sure that you have a financial planner on the team. Why is this important in a transaction? It's important because you need to know, how does this exit going to actually correlate to my personal financial life? Is it going to do all the things that I want it to do from a personal financial perspective? And then the 5th person on the team is going to be insurance. And you might be thinking insurance is very important when we're running the business from a liability perspective. But what a lot of people don't know is that there's often some liability you're taking on even post-exit. It's important to make sure that we have the right insurance teams on the place to not only educate you around the liabilities that are potentially out there post-exit, but also make sure that you have the right coverages in place post-exit. So again, you want to make sure that the people that are on your team are the specialists that can help you go through the transaction. The 3rd item that we need to cover in any great succession plan is going to be, what is your ideal outcome post-exit? This is very important to think about because likely if you're listening to this video and you're thinking about succession planning, you are probably in a situation that you have done this for over a decade. After all, most overnight successes don't happen overnight. They typically take decades, not days. And when we think about exit planning, we need to make sure that we understand what is our ideal outcome post-exit. So things to be thinking about. 1 is, depending on who you're selling to, they might want you to stay on board for a period of time. You might not want to stay on board for a period of time, and that's okay as well. What are you going to do with your time after you're no longer running this business? Or maybe you're staying on board and potentially taking a second bite of the apple. No matter what the ideal outcome is, it's very important to make sure that you talk about this in advance. I've seen it time and time again where seller gets to the end of the road, they have to sign on the dotted line, and the anxiety hits because of the concerns of, when I sign on this dotted line, I haven't thought about what this new stage in life is going to look like. So make sure you think about that ideal outcome in advance. So number 4, what does it cost to be you? This is a really important element for any business owner that's looking at a succession plan or an exit plan. Because if I had to guess, today you're living most of your lifestyle out of the business, whether it's income from the business or there's personal expenses that you're running through the business. You need to understand, 1, what are those expenses you're running through the business? 2, what is your lifestyle today? And 3, after you transition out of the business, is your lifestyle going to change at all? And these are going to be really important elements that are going to reduce the anxiety. Whether you're selling your business for $1 million or $100 million, having a clear path to what it costs to be you is going to reduce that anxiety and allow you a lot of comfort and peace of mind in that next stage of life. So the 5th area that we're going to cover is, what is your number? And this is a very important element to think about, because when we consider selling a business, there's always going to be people in the room that are going to tell you either your business is worth more, or you're getting a great deal, or maybe it's in line with what you thought it to be. Regardless of any of those 3 situations, knowing your number is going to give you a greater sense of, 1, peace of mind, and 2, an ability to negotiate. Because if you have a number in mind, something that's realistic, it's going to allow you to stick to your guns, and it's going to allow you to negotiate. Just like it is with anything in your business, whether it's with vendors, whether it's with employees, being able to have a number and stick with it and be willing to walk away is going to be your greatest negotiating tool. Also, knowing your number is going to allow you to have a rock solid financial plan that is going to give you the peace of mind that you know that if you get that number, you can continue to maintain the lifestyle that you want to live into the future. So that wraps up the 5 areas in any great succession plan. So today, if you are looking at planning, you're looking at selling your business, don't hesitate to reach out at momentprivatewealth.com in the link below, or check out the blog that has the same content in the link below. Have a great day.